Aloha, my name is Ben Kaneaiakala with Phoenix Rising. Thank you again for joining me and for following us here on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, Phoenix Rising Addiction Center. We are getting into step 3, and this would be part 3 of me reading and discussing this step and how it applies to our recoveries with various types of pain and suffering or addiction or anxiety, stress, depression, whatever you got going on between your two ears in regards to excessive repetitive thinking. um, this would be a place, and a lot of the information that I share with you is not just on addiction. It is on addiction, but the addiction of the thinking. So I hope that we can kind of do a sobriety and beyond type of a thing. So I hope that this benefits you. We are on page 35 of step 3 at the bottom, and I'm going to read it out loud and then give my mana'o, or my insights into what this is. And I'm going to change some of the wordings around to make it fit the addiction of the thinking and the addiction of the thinking and behaviors. So I'm going to replace some of the words. So just know that up front, okay? So, but suppose that instinct still cries out, these instincts, and our higher power or God. I like to use the 7 deadly sins of pride and ego and anger and lust and gluttony and envy and greed and sloth, and and all those 7. So when they're referring to instincts, I like to refer back to those instincts, those natural God-given instincts, and then go into how these instincts have become defects of character and what that actually means. So, but suppose when we're in this process of making a decision to turn our thinking and our behaviors over to this newfound higher power of yours, or whatever it might be, just something greater than you that you've started discovering in step 2, that we bring that into step 3 and we make a decision to turn this thinking or this pain and suffering that's going on between my two ears, turn that over to a power greater than yourself. So, but suppose that instinct still cries out, as it certainly will. As it certainly will. Yes, respecting our thinking or our addictive thinking, I guess I have to be dependent upon the program or the resource, the help. But in all other matters, I must still maintain my independence. So maybe there's a particular problem, or like alcoholism, drug addiction, sex addiction, gambling addiction, whatever it might be, that might be like the primary focus or the primary problem that's creating most of the disturbances or the turmoil or the pain and suffering. A lot of times we think that's all that we're turning over. That's not all that we're turning over, you know? And so it goes into say, so I guess I have to be dependent upon the program for that issue, but in all other matters, I must still maintain my independence, right? So just for that, I'll be honest about it, I'll share about it, I'll work on it, but all the other stuff, I got it under control. Nothing is going to turn me into a non-entity. If I keep on turning my life and my will over, or my thinking and my behaviors over, to the care of something or somebody else, what will become of me? And those are really important insights and information, because when we as humans surrender, we think that we become a nobody, a nothing. And so the question is, so if I surrender, then am I just going to be a nobody? Am I going to be a non-entity? You know what I mean? Like, am I going to die? You know what I mean? Like, no, we're not going to die. And then it goes on to say that what is going to become of me? I'll look like the hole in the donut. This, of course, is the process by which instinct and logic always seek to bolster egotism or our pride or our ego, and so frustrate spiritual development. It is, will I become the hole in the donut? That's a really good question, because that hole in the donut that we're trying to fill with excessive drinking, excessive using, with excessive smoking, excessive eating, gambling, sexually acting out, whatever it might be, we're trying to fill that hole in the donut. You know what I mean? So what is going to happen? So I care of something or somebody else, what will become of me? I'll look like the hole in the donut. This, of course, is the process by which instinct and logic, so the natural God-given instincts and our intellect and our logic, always seek to bolster ego. And that is the ego. When we get into our thinking, or we get into rationalizing or justifying or going into, oh my God, I'm going to look like the hole in a donut. That is boasting egotism. And so frustrate spiritual development. It is one of the major blocks of spiritual development in this process of recovery. The trouble is that this kind of thinking takes no real account of the facts. And the facts seem to be these. The more we become willing to depend upon a higher power, the more independent we actually are. Therefore, dependence on the program as we practice it is really a means of gaining true independence of the spirit. It is when we actually surrender and turn it over, everything over, not just this particular problem, but what we're talking about is our thinking. Turning over our thinking and our behaviors over to this higher power of ours, whatever it might be, or whatever amount of resources that you might have. That's what we're trying to do, is turn this over. And it's that hole in the donut that we're trying to fill with all of these defects of character and all of these excessive thinking and everything that goes along with that, is we're trying to fill a hole in the donut that's a bottomless pit. There is no end to the hole in the donut that we're trying to fill with all of these excesses. Anxiety, stress, depression, loneliness, sloth, whatever it might be. We cannot fill that hole in the donut because it is endless. Because that hole in the donut is between my two ears. That hole in the donut is the way that I think. And the more that I get into no thinking, or no self, as my t-shirt says, no self, no problem. The more we can get out of that thinking and that dependency upon me, myself, and I, and the more that I start being dependent upon a power greater than myself, the more freedom, and true joy and true happiness I get. And that's a very hard concept to understand and to believe. So what I'm going to do is, go home and after you listen to this video, go and practice being present. Go and practice being present in everything that you do. Bring this higher power into your eating, into your walking, into your talking. Connect to your breath, connect to your inner body. Connect to this higher power of yours all the time. And release or let go of that excessive repetitive thinking of the past and of the future. Because that's where our thinking lives. Our thinking doesn't live in the present moment or in the now. The thinking only lives in the past and in the future. And what we have to do is, through this practice and the practice that I've been talking about for some time now, is this practice of connecting to this higher being or this higher power that's found within. And the more we practice breathing and connecting to our breath, there's some meditation videos that I've also posted on my YouTube channel that helps kind of get us connected to that being. And I would just go and practice that. Start practicing this, using the basics of the program. Using going to meetings, using the fellowship, using the step studies, using your sponsor, using the fellowship, using prayer and meditation, using your therapist, using all of those tools to help get rid of the excessive rubbish and opala that goes on between my two ears. And the more that we can take advantage of the resources that we have, and that's the great thing about a 12-step program, is there's so much resources and so much help available We just have to pick it up and use it. And so when we surrender in step one and we admit complete defeat, and we get into step two about believing in a power greater than myself, and we get into step three of actually making that decision about, am I going to do something or not? You know, I remember when I first got sober, they used to tell this story about the three frogs on the log. Three frogs on the log, one made a decision to jump off. How many was left? Everybody would say two. But in actuality, in that example, it's three. Because all he did was just make a decision. He didn't do anything yet. And that's what we have to do is make this decision that we do have a problem with excessive thinking and behaviors that only an act of providence can remove it from us. And as long as I stay dependent upon my thinking, and that I'm going to think my way out of this, and I'm going to think my way through this, and I'm going to think my way, thinking cannot fix thinking. The only thing that can fix our thinking, our excessive repetitive thinking, is our higher power, is our being, our inner being. So no self, no problems. The more we don't think about me, and I, there's no problems. Because nothing is personal. If I'm identified with the way that I think so much that I am going to get disturbed with everything that goes on, because I think that it's a personal attack against me. And so I hope that this was helpful to you. This is part 3 of our discussion with step 3. Please continue to follow us on YouTube. Pass this along to friends or family. This isn't just for alcoholism and drug addiction. The discussion that I have is about life. It's about dealing with life in general. And probably the biggest addiction in the world, our thinking. So I hope this was very helpful. Again, mahalo for following. And I hope you're having a great day. Mahalo.